Okay. Hello, everyone, again. It's myself and Ingrid here. And we're going to be making some drugs today. We're going to be synthesizing some aspirin today. So, here's the lab manual right here in front of us. And just like last time, Ingrid knows exactly what's going on. I have no clue. So we're just going to go through the manual and see what happens. Now, aspirin's kind of fun because people have known about salicylic acid, or SA, for, I want to say, a few thousand years at least, Ingrid. Because Galen and Hippocrates knew about it, and they knew if you boiled or chewed on willow bark, it would basically give you anti-fever and anti-pain properties. I think in the 1800s, they discovered what it was and started basically working with it. So, enough of the history lesson, let's jump right into it. Step 1, synthesis of aspirin. Set up a warm water bath by half filling a 600 milliliter beaker with water, setting it on the hot plate and using the thermometer to monitor. Adjust the setting to achieve a temperature of 60 to 70 degrees Celsius. So we have that right here. We're sitting at 60.5 degrees Celsius, so we're looking good. Do we need to get this a little bit higher, or okay? So
I turned it off just because it was boiling.
Turn the heat on a little bit. Should we add more water to this, or is it okay where it is?
I think it's okay.
Perfect. Step 2, prepare an ice bath by filling about 600 milliliters beaker with crushed ice, and in it place a 150 ml beaker containing about 50 mils of distilled water. So here's our ice bath. There's about 50 mils of distilled water. So we are rocking and rolling so far. On the top loading balance, for this we're going to use the analytical balance because we're just that cool. Obtain about 5 grams of salicylic acid and place in a 250 milliliter Erlenmeyer flask. Record the mass. So we're going to take a weigh boat. We're going to tear the weigh boat, add 5 grams to it, weigh that, transfer it to a beaker, and then weigh the weigh boat again to figure out what got stuck to the weigh boat, and then we're off to the races. So there's our salicylic acid. All right, so 5 grams. Make sure to plug in your balance first, or else it won't work. For it to start up. Okay, there we go. So, tear. Okay, 5 grams. So salicylic acid is pretty fluffy and light. So we're going to be scooping for a little while. I'll show you guys what roughly 5 grams looks like. .7, 4.3, almost there. I can go a little bit more. When I was an undergrad, we had a game, get as close to the weight as possible. Okay, Ingrid, and this is 5.0000 grams. I nailed it.
No way.
Take a look. Okay, hold on, let me close that. It's going down a little bit when you start walking. There we go, 5.0001.
That's impressive. You win.
I win. Okay, so 5 grams on the dot. I'll show you guys what that looks like, because it's a whole hell of a lot. Okay, place in the 250 milliliter Erlenmeyer flask. This guy right here. So we're going to fold that, drop that in right there, and as you can see there'll be a lot of white powder left over. Now I haven't tared the balance, so when I put this back on there, it'll still have the weight of the boat recorded, and then whatever's left over will tell me what's stuck, and then we can do the weight by subtraction. Okay, so we have 0.071 grams. So about
0.071.
0.071. So 0.0710 grams. And then when you do this, you might spill some on the balance like I did, which is why you have your brush, and you just brush that off so that Ingrid and I don't kill you. Okay, that's done. Balance goes off for now. Alrighty. Just directly dispense 7 mils of acetic anhydride from the dispenser in the fume hood into the Erlenmeyer flask containing the salicylic acid. Swirl the flask. So Ingrid and I already prepped 7 mils of into acetic anhydride. So we have the 7 mils of I can't talk today. We have 7 mils of the acetic anhydride here, 5 grams of the salicylic acid. So this is going to go in. And right off the bat, it's getting a little bit warm. Just a little bit. So we're going to mix this up. And as I mix this up, I'm going to read ahead. Add 6 drops of concentrate H2SO4 in the fume hood and swirl the flask again. So I'm going to go add 6 drops, and we'll keep swirling.
Do you want me to move the video?
Oh, we're good. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
6 drops are added. Swirl the flask again.
Now, is there a step where we rinse down with DI or anything?
When you're actually going to transfer it for filtration.
So when you add some stuff, you'll see that you'll have some powder stuck on the side right here. So this is a great time to kind of try and get that down somehow without getting too much stuff all around. So sometimes we'd use a little DI bottle just to spray it down.
But we're not adding water yet.
We're not adding water yet. Okay, place the flask in the warm water bath and allow the flask to be heated for about 7 minutes, gently swirling occasionally.
I see why you said fill it up.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to sit in the water.
Yeah.
I thought it was supposed to be just above the water.
No.
Actually in it?
Yeah. Go a little bit higher. We're going to want it. There you go. That's good. Okay. So we're just going to keep mixing this. We're going to wait for the water bath to get to 60 degrees. It's at 45 right now. And through the power of editing, it'll happen like this. Unless I don't know how to do that, in which case you have to stand here for 5 minutes while I wait for the water bath to heat up. Still working on it. I'm using like Corel or something to edit these videos. Free stuff,
Okay.
free software, awful.
Yes.
Corel's not bad. I should say it. Corel's not bad.
That's like ancient, isn't it?
Corel?
Yeah, like I remember
Probably.
that when I was in high school.
I miss good old
And that's a long time ago.
Yeah, this is all be cut out. We'll show this in the bloopers. Show this in the bloopers section. Ingrid's old is what she's trying to say. Although you should see Ingrid's glasses right now. Like those are like you have little strings on the back and everything.
See?
Oh my goodness.
I have a question for you.
What's up?
You weighed the boat. Shouldn't we tear the analytical balance and weigh the boat with what's inside it?
You could do that. So I put the boat on first and then teared it.
Oh, you teared the boat.
I teared the boat.
Okay. So what you weighed out was exactly 5
Was
grams.
exactly 5 grams of the salicylic acid.
So,
And then
okay,
when
so mass of
So that's just massive SA.
massive SA. So it's mass of SA.
Yeah. And then when I put the boat
Got it.
back on, because it maintains the tear.
Okay, that's what I missed.
Yeah.
Okay. It maintains the tear, and then basically when you weighed it, that's what's left
Yeah.
on the boat. Got it.
So you do 1 minus 2,
Yep.
you get 3.
Okay.
Cool. I'm gonna not put my head right over the beaker of reacting salicylic acid.
I'll do that math right now.
So water bath wise, 48.
Sorry, I did have it going, and then we
No, you're good. Don't worry.
The oven's on too.
Perfect.
It's amazing how much stayed on there, eh? 4.9291 grams SA in reaction.
Just save battery. I'll actually stop this and then we can... Okay, and we're back. So water bath's at 60 degrees Celsius and heating up. Little trick for everyone down the road. If you're heating up a water bath and it starts to go above the temperature you want, so we want to keep this between 60 and 70 degrees. If it starts to get 68 or so, we can just take it off the water bath, take it off the heater, and then it'll cool down. You can put it back on. You can basically just tease the heat like that for a while. So we're at 61 degrees Celsius. We're going to move that guy over there. And 7 minutes?
Yes.
Do we have a timer?
Where did our timer go? Start.
Okay. So we have the thermometer right here. We have our thing right here, and we're off to the races. So what should we be seeing? It's saying right here. So the mixture should liquefy and then crystals will form. At this point, remove the flask from the bath and set on the bench. Allow it to cool to room temperature. So we'll set this up right here. Okay.
You want the timer as well?
Nah, we're fine. Can we sneak it in there? It's okay. We don't need the timer. They can figure it
I
out.
have duct tape.
No, we're not gonna. I can just count it out.
Is anything changing?
Not yet. It's still too early.
Like, I wonder if we waited too long, eh?
No, I think we're fine.
Because it never liquefied, right?
No, not yet. Okay, so we're at 6 minutes and 33 seconds. Our temperature is 68.8 degrees Celsius. I've turned off the heat. I've been adding a little bit of DIY just to bring the heat down. And I might bring this off the hot plate pretty soon. But we're almost at 7 minutes, so it doesn't really matter anyways. We're at 650. Okay, we're at 7 minutes. So, take this guy off now. And we have this big moving gel here now. It's almost a liquid. It's not really crystallized, though.
Yeah, I wonder if we have to heat it longer.
Maybe we'll put it back in for a little bit more. Ooh. Alright, so we'll resume. Oh god. Alright, well, I just broke the timer. So we'll just kind of roughly count it based off of the video. But we're basically looking for it to what? To melt, then crystals to form?
Yes.
Okay.
The mixture should liquefy and then crystals will form.
Once again, it's 7 mils. There's no water at all at the start. Top 5 grams, directly 7 mils, 6 drops. Place the flask in a warm water bath. Allow the flask to heat about 7 minutes. Swirling occasionally. Use tongs. Let temperature rise above 70. Make sure to liquefy. Well, it has liquefied. It just hasn't liquefied fully yet. Because it is getting to that gel-like state.
Find the cuvettes.
Okay. So we'll stop. We'll pause the video here until this eventually melts, and we'll get back with the time. Okay, so we're ready now. So I'm gonna hop back down here 2 seconds. Off the giant ladder. Okay. So everything should be good to go. Now we're gonna do the following. So we're gonna turn on the water right here. Oh, hold on. That would have splattered water everywhere. So we'll move that back.
Oh.
Move that over there. I almost turned the faucet on when the thing wasn't above the drain.
Yeah, that would have been a mess.
That would have been an absolute mess. Okay, we're still good. All right, so turning on the water, which gives us our suction. we're going to...
You want to further it out? I can add more water to that.
No, we're fine. We're going to pre-wet this with some DI water. There we go. Let that drain out. Perfect. So the faster your water stream, the more suction it pulls. Okay, and now we're going to pour this into there. And now it says to wash this with 2 10 ml portions of chilled DI water. And what you actually want to do is you want to rinse out your beaker. So I've got about 40 mils in this beaker right here. So I'm going to add about 10 mils to that. And pour that through. And grab another 10 mils or so.
We want all of it.
Mix that up. Pour that through. Okay. And then what we're basically going to do now is we're going to take our stir bar that our glass rod that we're using. We're basically going to spread out the crystals. This is stuff that actually is in the book, but this is a great thing, again, if you want to increase your purity. You want to spread out your crystals as best you can, and then hit them with another little wash of water, making sure that you get everything possible.
Do you want me to hold the stir bar?
Please, you can just hold it right there.
Are you going to use this again?
No, we're good with that. This is the chilled water, right? Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to pour that down there to both rinse the bar off and as well as just distribute my little drops and drips everywhere. Okay, so that looks good. Now the more water we pull off in this step, the less we have to worry about in drying it. And I'll show you guys in a little bit, but the bottom of the Erlenmeyer flask down here, you can check to see how much product we've lost and how cloudy it is. So it is a little bit cloudy, which means that we've actually lost a little bit of product. But you can just see the massive amount of white crystals we have up in here, which tells us that overall this is looking pretty good. So,
sorry.
No problem.
I prepared you a spatula.
Perfect.
For scraping onto the watch glass that has been pre-weighed. So I assume you're going to use the biggest one this time?
Yep. Okay, so we'll move this back down now. Okay, so just going to turn off the water. Now here's the fun part right here, because we have all this white crystal here, and we want to make sure that we can get as much of it onto this watch glass as possible without scraping the actual filter paper itself and just ruining everything. And we have to figure out how to do this so that I don't break my wrist in the process of all this bending. Okay, so what you want to do first is basically lightly scrape off anything that'll come free. And as we start to scrape, we will see the white filter paper underneath. And I'm really not applying any pressure when I'm doing this. I really just want to scrape off what's there. Now, if this was a super expensive synthesis, or something where I wanted to collect every single drop possible, every single milligram possible, you'd probably take off the filter paper at this point and dissolve the rest of the product from the filter paper and treat that separately in a kind of recovery step. But this is actually coming off quite nicely.
Good job, David.
Thank you. Make sure I get all the last little bits. Okay, so there overall is our filter paper. Just take a last little look, scrape off anything there that needs to be dealt with. Okay, so we'll put that over there. Use our glass stir rod from before. Just get all those last little bits off. Okay. Actually, it was 6 seconds. And here we have our product. So now before we put this in the oven, we want, if we can, to basically break up any kind of larger crystals so that the whole thing evaporates just that much more quickly.
Well, look, David, your filtrate is actually
Oh,
not
that's
that
actually pretty clear.
cloudy. Might have been
It's probably just all the
aeration.
air. Yeah, it's probably just all the air being pulled from it. Okay, looking pretty good. So I want to weigh this now, right, Ingrid?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this is the part where we move it over, and then I slip and drop it all on the floor. We start from scratch. So let's hope that doesn't happen. Okay. So we pre-weighed this weigh boat, so we know how much it weighs already. So I'm going to tear the balance before I put it on here. And this is the largest weigh boat.
Okay.
So our total mass right here is 59.4475 grams.
59.447.
446. It's changing now. Hold on.
Okay. Closed. Are the doors closed?
Yeah, now there. Take my hand off. 59.4450.
59.4450
Correct.
grams.
Yep.
And the big watch glass was pre-weighed to 49.8567 grams.
So about 10 grams total.
Yep.
Which is a lot higher than I expect, but this is still very wet. So as we dry it, we'll lose a lot of that weight. And this is where, if you're really, really good and keen, you'd actually figure out beforehand what your theoretical yield would be.
Yeah, should have done that. Didn't.
Bad, Ingrid.
I know. I might actually figure it out right now.
Okay. So while Ingrid's doing that, we're going to pop back over here 2 seconds. I can see myself now because the viewfinder's out in front. Okay, transfer the crystals to a watch glass and place them in a drying oven for 20 minutes. And then... Oh, actually, Ingrid, we don't do the weight until after.
No, but I'm going to look at the formula weight and I'm going to figure
No,
out...
but what I'm saying here is according to the procedure, we weigh only after the oven.
Oh, after it's dried.
But this is a nice thing to do beforehand as well, so you can see how much is moisture.
Water. Okay, this is good.
Okay, oven. Where's the oven?
The oven is in the back corner of the lab.
Cool.
It's the big oven with the duct tape on the one door, and you want to open the left door. Right door wasn't staying shut this way, it will stay at 100. It should be about 100 degrees in there.
Oh, because they probably all have the salicylic acid. The stinkier it is, that means you have more acetic acid kicking around.
Right.
Which means you screwed up. All right, so we're going to dry it for 20 minutes, and we'll come back in a little bit. Okay, and we're back. So it's been about 20 minutes or so of it sitting in the oven, and we're just weighing out the dried product right now. So we'll wait for this to settle 2 seconds. So sometimes with fine powders, it takes a little while for the weights to settle because there's just so much different types of like electrostatic things going on in there. But I think it's slowing down soon. Okay, so Ingrid, we are at 56.4420.
56.4420.
Correct.
And it was 59.4450.
So we lost about 3 grams of water.
Yep, and I calculated the theoretical mass, and it's about 6.4.
So our theoretical mass is 6.4 grams. And what's our current crude mass? Ingrid's just doing some math. 2 seconds. 6.5? So 6.2, 6.5?
6 point. I'm not giving them the exact number because
Sure.
I want them to do the math. But
Sure.
it's about 6.5, and we got about 6.5,
So theoretical is 6.5,
roughly.
and we got about 6.5.
Yes.
So if everything's gone according to plan, then our crude product is 100% pure. But to make sure about that, we now have to do the purification step. So the purification step is as follows. So part 1, part 2, part 3. Purity test. Recrystallization. Weigh about 1 gram of crude product on the analytical balance and transfer to a 150 milliliter beaker. Check. Return the rest to the oven. Okay, so about 1 gram and to the beaker. So weigh boat's right there. So let's head over here now. Okay, putting our weigh boat on. Tearing our weigh boat. 1 gram. Make sure to drop half of it on the counter. Very important.
You tared before you added the.
I did. Okay, and our mass is 1.0054 grams. 1.0054 grams. Some more water into this. Okay, so we take our.
So just to confirm, 1.0054 grams.
Correct.
Okay.
I'm going to put this in there.
Is it still powdery? Like, what's the texture like?
It's grainy, and it looks like it all transferred. So we have 0 left on the balance, so it all transferred. So our remaining on the boat is 0, and it's pebbly. It's like little grains of rock or sand. And if I crush this up with a mortar and pestle, it'll be really, really fine and powdery. It looks pretty good. Okay, so that's going to go off.
So it all transferred.
All transferred.
Okay.
Okay, pour about 10 mils of hot water into the beaker. So we have some water boiling right here. Transfer 10 mils into the beaker. Boom. And place the beaker with the crystals on the hot plate. Adjust the hot plate to low. In this case, about 2.
Can I interject for a second?
Sure.
So we want to use the smallest amount of water possible.
Correct.
As the solvent to dissolve the ASA crystals.
Yep.
So we're not going to use 10 mils. We're going to use a dropper, right? The plastic dropper
Okay.
I have in front of there. And we're just going to add it slowly until it is dissolved. Or do you want to measure out 10 mils in a grad cylinder just to know that we haven't gone above
It's a
it?
good idea. Let's do that.
Okay.
So we'll take our graduated cylinder,
That's a clean one.
and then we'll take our boiling hot beaker.
Do you need something like a hot mitt? I'll go grab you a hot mitt just to be safe.
We're good. Whew. Feel all that steam in my hand. Okay. So we have 10 mils boiling water. We're going to want to do this quick so that we don't just cool our water off. And I've got my glass stir bar here, so I can basically crush the crystals as I add it. Okay, so this is about 3 mils right here. So adding our 3 mils. Putting that off to the side right there. Where are we? Let me do... There we go, perfect. Okay. See if I can get it to focus. There we go. Okay, Ingrid, do you want to add a few more mils for me, please?
Sure. When do we want to put it on the stir plate? So that's about 5
Pretty
mils
soon.
left. So I'm gonna replace this.
So we're getting there. A lot of it is dissolving. So I'm just breaking up a lot of these crystals because with dissolution, you're talking about surface area. So you want your surface area of your solid to be as fine as possible to just aid with dissolution. I think we're going to want to add the rest of the 10 mils,
Okay.
just because it is taking a little while to dissolve. Okay. So it's very important that when we put this in the hot plate, we don't want the water to go dry. Because if the water goes dry, let me zoom out a little bit. People aren't just staring at my hands. If the water goes dry, then the glass is going to start to heat up, and it's going to start to heat up our crystals, which may then start to decompose and break down, which we don't want. And we need the solvent to eventually pour down the beaker funnel. Okay, so that looks pretty good.
So we want to put it on the hot plate, and then if it's not completely dissolved, we have to add a little bit more water.
Exactly.
I mean, you have done such an amazing job, we might need a bit more water.
And we're going to need some more water anyways because... Oh, that's the wrong... There we are. Because as I'm doing all this crushing... Ooh, that's hot. I have a lot of product stuck on the glass bar right here. So I want to take a few more mils. So if you're doing this right, what you should do is add about 5 mils to the beaker, crush it up with a glass stir bar, and then use another 5 mils to basically just drip down and clean off your glass stir bar. Because we don't want to lose a lot of our product to the glass stir bar. Okay. That's good right there. That goes off to the side, that goes off to the side. And now this right here goes on there. That's on low. We basically want to get that to boiling. Once that's back to boiling, we then shove it on there and filter that off. So while we're doing that, get some filter paper ready.
I already put some in.
Perfect.
So we have to have the crystals dissolved,
Yes.
and you're going to put a watch glass on the beaker. And you're going to put it on the black bench.
Yep, and then once crystals dissolve, remove the beaker from hot plate, place wash glass on the beaker, allow it to cool room temperature. Crystals should start to form. Perfect. So we're basically solubilizing our crystals right now. So we're cranking up the heat, we're going to solubilize our crystals, pull them down. So I'm going to suggest...
Little plastic, or actually I can use this one. I don't want to lose stuff in there, I just want to wash it, like wash the bottom.
Oh, just going to pull it up and
Side.
push down? You can probably do this. So Ingrid brought up a good point. We have a lot of product that's sitting at the top right there, and we're going to want to wash that all down. What we can do, actually, Ingrid, I was thinking about that. We can use the DI bottle to spray it down. And
But
just,
it's not hot.
Sorry?
It's not hot.
It'll get hot. Because it's going to get boiling, right?
Yeah, we
So I can
want to
use the DI
minimize. I was just going to use the liquid that's already in there because we don't want to add more water, right? We
Then I'm
want
worried about
minimal
us
amount.
losing stuff inside the plastic.
Yeah, is there a liquid on the surface that you can sort of just use, or
I
not?
can try. We'll see if it works.
Just use try a little bit, see if that.
Is this clean? That makes it clean.
Yes, it was with water. Just see if it works. Does that
Oh,
work?
look at that. Ingrid the rock star.
Well, I'm just going on the rule that we're supposed to minimize the amount of water.
Yeah, if we used more water, we could just boil it off, but I do agree. So
how is it looking? Is it dissolving, or do we need to add more water, do you think? Or
We have to wait until it starts to boil. Once it starts to boil, we can really figure it out.
Okay. Looking like it's gonna boil.
It's getting there. We'll grab this glass stir bar again.
Created that ice bath.
Oh,
for you.
perfect. Let's get the camera in on this part.
This is in case we need more water.
Let's hope no one gets motion sick easy with me moving the camera around all this. Perfect. Okay. So we're basically just waiting for this to start to boil, and we're hoping that our crystals begin to basically dissolve off over time. So if we look down here at the bottom, we see we have a lot of crystals floating up to the top, and I can basically just push them down a little bit and break them up. And it is working, they're dissolving.
Yay. I'm just preparing some more boiling water
Yep.
in case we need it. On a separate hot plate.
And of course, the same issue as before is that you will get some crystals on your glass stir bar. Oh, come on. There we go. And the best thing to do is basically just wait until the solution is really hot and then dissolve them off in the solution after.
I'm going to take the rest of the crude and put it back in the oven.
Sure. So the crystals are indeed slowly going down. We're basically just going to wait until this water hits boiling. So we'll see, we'll time lapse it. Okay, so our solution is just about to start boiling, and as we can see, everything's actually dissolved. So this is perfect.
What about the side stuff?
We're gonna get that. So now I'm going to put our stir bar back in here. Actually, I want to show it 2 seconds. This is gonna be really important later on. If you're ever doing crystallization, air and crystals need a point to crystallize off of. So if you're just at the cusp of crystallization and you drag a glass stir bar across the bottom, you're basically scratching all the glass surface and giving the water an area to basically boil out of. So I take it out, not a lot of bubbles, put it in, more bubbles. If I scratch it, lots of bubbles. And as we can see now, our beaker is actually clean.
Wow.
Because as it boils, it condenses on the side right here, and the water falls back down and actually pulls everything down to the bottom. So that's looking quite great and awesome. That's boiling. So now at the moment that it starts boiling and the beaker looks clean, we're going to kill the heat. We're going to put a watch glass on top of this guy, and we're going to move it and the whole thing back here to the black to cool. And you're going to do this with some kind of thermal glove because it's quite hot. And actually now we can set up a time lapse with the crystals. So I'm going to move this over there. Do this.
So we don't need it.
I'm going to scrape all these crystals. I know you guys can't see it, but you guys have seen this already. I knew someone in undergrad who always tried to get 100% purity, and he would always do it the wrong way. But he knew he was doing it the wrong way. What he would do is he'd basically scrape his filter paper.
Oh, and he'd scrape the filter paper
And he'd scrape his filter paper onto the sample. And despite the fact that he knew he was getting the incorrect answer, because he knew he had to hit a certain mass, he would just scrape his filter paper.
Oh.
Which is not
That's
being...
cheating.
It absolutely is cheating. They always caught him, too, doing it, because he was silly. Okay, use this to get some of
Those
this
look
off.
pretty.
Yeah, they're looking pretty good. Very fluffy.
Do you want anything else to help you with that or not?
I think we should be good. There's only so much you can do. Like.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty good job.
Okay, now in the oven they go?
Yep. Why don't you weigh it before
Sure.
the oven? You teared it first, right?
Tearing it right now. Okay, so this weighs a total of 37.3806.
37.3806.
Correct.
Okay.
We'll pop it in the oven now.